finding the percent of change and discounts and markups. That's what we'll do in this video. We'll start with finding the percent of change. And to find this, it's a simple formula. It's simply the amount of change, or the difference in the two numbers, over the original amount, which is the number you started with. When you have a percent of increase, that describes how much the original amount increased. And when you have a percent of decrease, that describes how much the original amount decreased. Let's try out this problem together. Find the percent of increase or decrease of the cost of an item from $28 to $21. A lot of times you'll see this in the store. There's reduced costs of items, they go on sale. And in this case, you do have an item that dropped in price. It originally cost $28, but then it dropped to $21. So the amount of change, or the difference in the amount, is basically the 28 minus the 21 over, or divided by, the original amount, which would be 28. So let's simplify this. 28 minus 21 is 7, divided by 28. Before solving anything, you always want to try to simplify. It will make life a lot easier when you deal with mathematics. So if I have 7 over 28, I automatically notice that I can divide both by 7. This becomes 1, and this becomes 4. 1/4. And 1/4 written as a percent is 25%. So this item decreased, or had a percent of decrease, by 25%. Let's try another problem together. This is on heart rate, which is something we can all relate to. Find the percent of change for a heart rate that went from 65 beats per minute at resting to a heart rate of 110 beats per minute. We start by finding the change, the difference in the amount. So we have 110 minus 65. And it doesn't really matter the order that you subtract the numbers, so I always put the larger number in front, because you're not going to really have a negative number. And if you do have a negative, that really just means it decreased. So I always just use the larger number first. We subtract the smaller number from the larger number, and that's 110 minus 65. And you have to write this over and divide it by the original amount. So I know based on this problem that the heart rate went from 65 to 110. 65 is the original amount, and that's why I write 65 on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 2, 110 minus 65. That gives me 45 over 65. I'm going to simplify this by dividing both 45 and 65 by 5, and that gives me 9 over 13. 9 over 13 gives me 0.69, about that amount. So the percent change is 69% increase. All right, now we're off to finding discounts. We really enjoy that word discounts because we know we're going to get a lesser price. So we know that there's a percentage of a discount that's going to be subtracted from the original amount. And in this case, we have admission to a theater is $20, but children under the age of 12 receive a discount of 15%. We're looking for the cost for children under the age of 12. And there are two methods to solving this. We can begin by multiplying and then subtracting. What that means is when we multiply, we're really finding a percentage of the original amount. And in this case, we have 15% of $20. So we could find 0.15 times 20. That amount is 3. And then we can subtract the $3 from the 20. So you have 20 minus 3, which gives us $17 for children under the age of 12. So if you notice again, we multiplied the cost times the percentage discount, and that gave us 3, but that $3 is the savings amount. It's the amount you're going to save. So we're not done yet. We then have to go and subtract it from the original amount, which was $20, and that gives us 17. So where regular admission is 20, children under the age of 12 only pay 17. Another method we can use is subtract, then multiply. In the case of subtracting, what we're doing is when you have 100% of 20, that's really $20. So instead of paying 100% of 20, we're really paying 100 minus 15%, which gives us 85%. 85% is what we're going to pay of the original price. So that's the subtraction part. Next, we multiply. So instead of finding 15% of 20 and then subtracting it from the original cost, we just figure out what percentage of the 100 we're actually paying, and that's only 85%. So to find the cost for children under the age of 12, we're really finding 85% of 20, which gives us $17. You're going to get the same answer. There are two methods. You choose the one that you prefer. Lastly, we have finding markups. Markups is a price or a percentage that is added to a wholesale price, the original price. And companies, stores, all the prices they get it at a wholesale price. And then they have to mark it up in order to make a profit at their establishment. In this case, we have Bob, and Bob purchases wireless headphones at a wholesale price of $125. He then turns around, takes his price of $125, and then he marks it up. So the retail price at his store marks it up 90%. We're trying to figure out what is the selling price that Bob is selling his headphones at his store. Again, we have two methods. We have the first one, which is multiply, then add. We're going to multiply 125 times 0.9 because we are paying the 90% above his cost of a wholesale price. So we take 125 times 0.9, and that is $112.50. We're not done yet. This is the amount added as a markup to his wholesale price of $125. So the last step here is then we add. So we're going to add $112.50 to the wholesale price $125, and that gives us $237.50. So at Bob's store, his customers are going to purchase the headphones at a marked up price of $237.50. The next method is to add, then multiply. So let's consider Bob's wholesale price of $125. His $125 is considered 100%. Well, we're going to pay that 100%, which is the $125, but we're also going to pay 90% on top of that. So really, that's 190%. Written as a decimal is 1.9. So we're actually going to pay 1.9 of 125. That's where the multiplication comes in. So we have 1.9 times 125. Again, that's his wholesale price. And just like we found above with the first method, it's $237.50. Just as I mentioned with finding the discounts, there are two methods, but it's your preference with which one you use. Have fun!